Italy elected its first female prime minister this week, a self-described centre-right candidate, Giorgia Meloni, and because she's a conservative, journalists lost their minds.
A victory for the far right. Giorgia Meloni is set to become Italy's first female prime minister.
If we are called on to govern this country, we will do it for all Italians, with the aim to unify people.
It's a remarkable rise for the 45-year-old firebrand from Rome, known for her speeches slamming gay rights, European bureaucrats and illegal immigrants.
Yes, according to the ABC, the first female prime minister in Italy is a victory for the far right. Now, what an absurd way to lead a news package. The vitriol spewing from that reporter was insane and in no way objective news reporting. And it actually got worse. Not only did they slander this woman as being on par with fascist leader Mussolini, they painted her democratic election as an alarm bell.
The outcome of the election is likely to raise alarm in Europe, which has seen a move to the right in recent elections. In Sweden, the far right won the second largest share of the vote 2 weeks ago, helping to oust the centre-left from power. In France, far-right candidate Marine Le Pen increased her share of the vote, shifting the country dramatically to the right. And now Italy has likely voted in the most right-wing government since World War II.
It's hard to tell whether the journalist is historically ignorant or just completely biased. But politics must be more nuanced than these simplistic designations of extremism. We need to look at the policies of politicians. If journalists covering the story were doing their jobs, they would tell you why people voted for her and why her tougher immigration policies swayed their minds. Because if tough on immigration makes you a fascist or a far right, then Anthony Albanese is far right. Because in this country, our immigration laws are extremely strict. But for some journalists, actually reporting the news is not good enough. They need to put their own spin on it. And Piers Morgan really shattered their argument in this segment on Fox.
What I think is really fascinating is how this whole shift is being categorised as a shift to the far right. Whereas if you look at this woman, Giorgia Meloni, who's become Italy's first prime minister, I wouldn't categorise her as far right at all. I would call her a fiscal conservative. In fact, bordering on moderate. So I think this is a classic tendency from the left to over-demonise anyone who is conservative and to brand them immediately far right and sort of make out this is some stigma to beat them with. The reason that she's won and the reason why you're seeing a lot of this sweeping through Scandinavia and other parts of Europe is I think that people are fed up with what they perceive to be a very ultra-woke left agenda, which is not addressing their real concerns, and in particular, whether it's in Sweden or Italy or other countries in Europe, on the issue of illegal immigration.
Now, Kel, she may end up proving that she is, very, very right-wing, but right now, that's not what she describes herself to be. What did you make of the reporting, not just the ABC, but the broader international reporting of her victory?
I saw it not as reporting, but as a left-wing scream of pain, which is what it was. And one of the reports I read, Jack, this is astonishing, claimed she was a supporter of Putin. Now, it's on the record that she's been strongly critical of Putin and strongly supportive of Ukraine. So that is nuts. I mean, so whoever it is just saying, right, what are all the bad things? We'll apply those to her. The expression hard right has become what linguists call a sneer expression. So it's used as a sneer term. When hard was first used as an adjective in politics in the 1980s, it applied to both the left and right. Now, hard is defined by the Oxford as meaning extreme and dogmatic. Right. Who does that remind you of? Oh, the Greens. No, I didn't think they were extreme and dogmatic. So there was originally an extreme left and extreme right. Suddenly, extreme left has disappeared. They're not anywhere now. And anyone who is 1 millimetre to the right of centre is now hard right. It's a sneer term to put people down. So it's a scream of anguish because they cannot cope with the fact that there are really good politicians, successful politicians, who don't toe the party line. They can't cope with that.
Well said. And look, Piers made the point as well that if you take this inflammatory and the most inflammatory designation of what somebody's political beliefs can be, like the most far right, What happens when somebody further right comes along? What happens when somebody that really does display, policies that are fascistic? What do you do then? You've already used up this word on somebody who is a centre-right politician.
Well, I thought the ABC, as part of their charter, should be neutral. And they shouldn't be editorialising this. And it appears that they are doing that in their report. So they need to be sitting on the fence. But I'm with Kel on this. I think it screams that people are concerned out there on the left that a right-wing leader is now in power, and that terrifies them. So they're going to try and knock her down by calling her far right and trying to freak people out. That's what their objective is here.
Yeah, it's a good point, but the ABC shouldn't be saying it's triggered alarm bells because we're also worried about Conservatives having power in Europe.
Of course.
A lot of it is in response to some quite failed policies on the left.
And Sweden has just gone right. I mean, it's happening across Europe.
Maybe ask, why is it happening?
That's right. That's a much better question.
Yeah, well said.